one of the things that we talk about in transformational leadership also is that most of your beliefs happen, like the concrete stuff that's really baked into you, the unconscious, subconscious beliefs are going to happen between like 0 and 8. So your childhood, when you are
Yeah.
not a fully formed being, you're seeing things and experiencing things in your life, and then you are determining your story about how the world works based on what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. And then you're carrying that forward with you subconsciously into the future. But that's a 5-year-old. Like, is a 5-year-old going to be able to look at a situation between his parents or her parents and then
Yeah.
say, have
Yeah.
a conscious idea of what's happening? No, they're going to create some sort of story, and that subconscious belief is going to get lodged in there. And then you are 40 years old. All right. Hello, hello.
Hi there. Let me turn this on.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. Just turned the heater off. I had to wait till like we started because I'm freezing in here.
Oh my gosh. I would like to say that I'm freezing too, but I'm not. It's like in the 60s today. It's probably actually going to be warmer. We're actually headed to the beach today to take Henson for a run on the beach and enjoy some beautiful, gorgeous Myrtle Beach weather. I'm feeling really spoiled. It's snowing in Virginia, by the way.
See, you made the right choice.
You know what? That's kind of one of the things I sort of wanted to talk about today. So I'm glad you actually brought that up, because it has to do with how sometimes you can be so determined in your own vision,
Yeah.
and it feels really, really challenging. And then sometimes you make a shift and it may not be what you imagine or what you think it should be, but all of a sudden everything falls into place. And I feel like when you're in alignment with your purpose, with your purpose of being on this planet and what you're supposed to be doing, everything becomes really easy. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden things move really fast. And
Yeah.
this happens to me often when I'm kind of like making a shift, where all of a sudden I feel like I've been like slogging along at something for a really
Yeah.
long time, and then all of a sudden everything happens so quickly. So we
Yeah.
weren't supposed to make this move until March. We were going to stay down here, but then we started realizing we would like to make this a more permanent move. And we said, okay, well, we'd rented out this studio apartment, so we were just going to stay here for, a few more months and slowly get ourselves together and do our move. And we've been staying in this apartment in my dad's building and renting from him. And then I think it's like January 1st or something like that.
Mm.
Um, my nephew's mom finds out that she is going to have to move out of her place.
Mm.
And so all of a sudden we're all like, well, we can't leave her homeless. Like
Yeah.
we all get to make sure she has a place to live. So the
Yeah.
most wonderful place for her to live, and the one that made the most sense, was for her to move into our apartment, which we had not
Mm.
planned on moving out of. However, Dee has basketball in Myrtle Beach.
Mm.
So we had a deadline of when we had to be back here. We couldn't wait until the end of February or end of January to move our stuff.
Mm.
So all of a sudden, what was going to be a 2-month move turned into a 1-week move.
Wow.
And of course, you wake up
Whoopsie.
and you're like, wow, this is really stressful. All of a sudden, what's supposed to happen in this, I thought in my brain was going to be planned out over time,
Yeah.
has suddenly been condensed down to 1 week. And it was so, for the most part, seamless. We still have some stuff we got to go back and get because everything
Yeah.
didn't fit into our giant U-Haul, which was also a whole nother situation of like the stuff that we cling on to. You
Yeah.
guys know, you made a move.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing like
Yes.
packing your stuff into boxes to realize how much stuff you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very
Absolutely.
humbling feeling to all of a sudden be packing into boxes.
Mm.
You look around your place and you're like, I don't have that much stuff. I'm
Psych.
here, dude, right? And then you put stuff in boxes and packing it into a truck, and you're like, oh my gosh, why do I have so much stuff?
Yes, literally. Amen.
So
Mhm.
that is a really wonderful and humbling experience. And then the other thing is that all of a sudden, all the pieces fell into place. Like, the people I needed were, like, available, and they
Yeah.
were available on the days I needed them to, like, get this move done. And so we packed up our entire apartment and packed it into the U-Haul, and we're down here within, I think it was, like, 9 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oof.
I know, right? So, like, it's extraordinary, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I still had a lot of feels because 'cause I've got stories in my head, and I like to stress about things. Um, it's true.
Yeah.
It's one thing that I really it's a lifetime process for me to, like,
Yeah.
let go of the stress because, somebody who's done yoga your whole life, you'd think I would learn that you don't need to stress about everything, but I
Mm.
guess I need all this yoga to undo all the stress that I naturally lean into. But it was amazing how when you make that shift and when you're on the right path, how the flow happens so fast. And I think that's kind of what happened with you and Safa also with your move from my
Yeah.
experience of watching you guys go through your move is that and here's the funny part. So we went to go look at this house that we're going to move into and we looked at it. I want to say it was maybe in October. My parents came down to visit and Dee really liked this house. It's right across the street from where we're staying now.
Mm.
And he really wanted to he had this vision of like us moving into this house. So we went over to
Mm.
look at it. And at the time, I was like, I'm not moving to Myrtle Beach. People are off their rocker.
Yeah.
The house and my parents went over with us and they were like, this is so cute. My mom was like, you could do this and you could do that. And I was just like totally humoring them, just walking through the house,
Like,
being like,
yeah,
yeah, this
mhm.
is a nice house. Um, and then now not only are we going to move into the house, but I think we're going to buy the house.
Mm.
So we had to go
Yeah.
back and look at the house again when we got
Mm.
back down here because I was like, I did not really look at that house because I
Yeah.
back in October of making this move.
Yes.
But it was funny because when we went back to Virginia, it became really evident that this was the right thing for us to do. Like there was
Yeah.
just no question. And
Mm.
that was the really wonderful thing too. And I think like also, again, I'll let you guys speak to your experience on this too, because I think you and Safa had a similar thing. You guys went out to Colorado. You were going for a visit, right?
Yeah,
You didn't
yeah.
it's gonna be like you thought you had the intention that this may be a move we wanted to make, but then when you go out and you see, like, something that's supposed to happen and I think this happens to us all the time, like, we're so resistant because our vision for our own life is what we want it to be, what we think it will be. We think we have a better vision for our life than everybody else or God or source or whatever, and then when you really get down to it and you start being in alignment
Mm.
kind of with what source wants for your life, everything's easy. And I feel like that's a really important thing to feel is like when you are knocking your head against the wall, when everything feels hard, you're probably not on the right path. And that should just be an indicator. Because
Yeah.
when you are on the right path, everything gets so easy. And my resistance to this move was making it much harder than it needed to be.
Mm.
And if I had just been like, and I was being really aware, right? I was being totally aware about this move and being like, I'm going to be open. I'm going to be
Mm.
open to the possibility that maybe something is planned out here that I don't really know about. And I can't tell you how much I love being down here. Like, it
Yeah.
is fun. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't I want to live at the beach? I love the beach.
Literally.
Literally, like, yeah. And I'm all of a sudden like, wow, I get to go to the beach today. It's January. It's going to be like 65, 70 degrees today. We're going to take Henson. He's going to go run in the ocean. It's going to be
Oh.
gorgeous. What's
Oh.
not to love about that? But why was I so resistant?
Mm.
Why was there so much that I didn't want to face? And I was I think I've mentioned before that I have this incredible leadership mentor, Judith Rich. And I've been meeting with her and working with her for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
And I was in a meeting with her the other day, and we were reminded that one of the things they really talk about in transformational leadership is that when you are moving on to something new and you are ready for the next level, you're not only going to give up what's not working, sometimes you have to give up what's working too.
Mhm.
Because we talked about the wood snake last time, right?
Mhm.
And one thing about the snake is the snake doesn't shed its skin just because it wants a new skin. It
Mhm.
sheds its skin because it no longer fits in the old skin. So it's not like
Mhm.
its old skin was bad or it wasn't working. It was working for as long as the wood snake was small.
Mhm.
But once the snake gets bigger, it has to literally shed its skin so it can grow and have a bigger skin
Mhm.
because it has grown and it is leading a different life.
Yeah.
And so it's not just like you have to give up the bad stuff. Sometimes you get to give up what's working too in
Mhm.
order to find the new thing that's working. So I just
Yes.
talked a lot. There a lot out there. As you can see, usually I leave it to Quentin to decide what we're going to talk about, but I plan today.
No, I
So
love
I
that.
would love to hear your thoughts on all of this too. So I'm gonna hand it over to
Yeah.
you for a second.
No, I believe, I love everything you just said. I'm saying it's difficult to know where to start, but I think I know you start. I'm gonna start where you started, and I think there's a phrase that you use that is often said but never really explained. But like, I'll try my best to explain it. It's when you move in alignment. Like I hear so many people say, like when you move in alignment, and they're like, "Okay, what does that mean exactly?" But we, all it's like, how does one move in alignment? Alignment with what? Alignment with who? Like, what are you basing your alignment on? I think that's like kind of like the secret in there that a lot of us were saying is like, well, you or your alignment needs to be to the most high. Like, as in you can be aligned to your addictions, you can be aligned to all sorts of things that it's like, yeah, I am moving in alignment. Like, I'm scratching my itches. I'm satisfying my urges. Like you could say I'm moving in alignment on that way, or you could say I'm a moving in alignment with my principles, or you could say I'm a moving in alignment with my intuition. And I think at any given moment, like I'm gonna say this again just for, like, my astrology folks, like, I'm a Virgo moon, so if you know what that means, I have, like the pros and cons, like, very go well with this because it's, like, very, like, meticulous, like, Virgo is, like, the meticulous, you're kind of the planning, like, the harvester, like, the maiden, that's the energy, like, the virgin maiden who's dedicating her life to service, and, like,
Mm.
so she's the master, like, getting all the details, figuring it all out, and, like, um in this process, like, the con is, like, pro and con is, like, this tendency towards perfectionism, like, you can be perfect, like, if you put in enough work, like, you can have a perfect harvest and you can do this, or you could act well, like, sort of like, you can almost think of, like, the abused servant in one way where it's like, "Oh, no, 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 yeah, you're right. No, yeah, I'll sacrifice. I'll do whatever you need to do." So, like, when you were mentioning alignment, it's like I struggle where it's like, am Is this is serving, like, in alignment, or am I serving because I don't feel powerful? Like, do I feel like, "No, like, um, I just feel weak in this situation, so I need to be in my position and, like, be like a serf kind of energy." And anyways, so when you were talking about, struggling with being controlling, like, I really do resonate with that, or, like, struggling with just, like because the stress comes from the control, like, I have a plan, this is the plan is deviating from the plan. Oh lord, yeah, like, what happened?
You and I both have that in common, don't we?
Yeah, and it's like, we are like we said, like, we're more administrative minded, like, I was a superintendent, like, my job was to create the baseline schedule, meet with the foreman every day, and go over the plan, and, I can, anyway, so getting into yoga, like, it's like just like you say, like, alright, like, like, you try to be more free-spirited, go with the flow, be able to identify the flow, but at the same time, you can almost get more sharpened in your convictions. Like, you're like, "No, I meditated on this," or "I prayed on this," and it gives you this kind of extra conviction and extra, like, "No, if it doesn't happen this way, then" and, you know, "I got this in my meditation, it has to happen this way." Like, I was clear-minded when I thought of this, like, this must be the truth, and I think, um, we we can lose sight, like, the Virgo is sort of this energy is, like, focusing. It's, like, naturally tunnel vision where you can be, like, very focused on, like, this beautiful
Mhm.
vision or plan that you have, but not recognize that, like, you're like this what your vision is like a puzzle piece, and what you can't see is how all the other puzzle pieces, like, fit around you, and it's almost like I think that we're like that, like, you meet another puzzle piece, they expand your perspective, and they give you more of the whole, they give you more vision of the whole, and you're like, "Oh, wow," like, I was maybe just meant to initiate in this direction, like, "Okay, this is what I like to see." And have faith in that urge to initiate, but just let it go and see what happens and say, "Okay, how did my rock that I threw in the lake, like, affect the ocean?" You know, it's like it's kinda like us, we're in there throwing rocks in the ocean, and we're like, "This is us making our mark. This is our making our mark." And, you know, it's kinda interesting. So, I was thinking about alignment, everybody talks about alignment. I think, like, the wood snake is, like, represents that. I love snakes too because they're just like linear. It's like it's all go. It's like it's like there's no like even though they move like serpentine, there's like a direction to them. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a sleekness. Um and what they represent is kind of it's very interesting. A lot of them live their lives in water. They're like and so they almost like they represent very well that energy of like, okay, you can be focused and very pointed, but you're in a flow. And when you operate in the flow, like you're identifying like, okay, which way is the current taking me? And you're saying something like, okay, when things are hard or they feel hard, that's a sign that you're moving in the wrong direction. And I think, like, sometimes the devil's in the details because it's hard to get out of your comfort zone, and at the
Mhm.
same time, being in your comfort zone, like, gets increasingly more difficult, and, so I think that's, like, the dichotomy where some people will be like, like, how can fasting, for example, be beneficial when I'm comfortable when I'm eating? Like, I can only go maybe, like, 4 hours without eating, like, how does that resonate? So sometimes I just wanted to, like, be clear, like, when I say alignment, it's like, pick one of the things that you're passionate about, whatever it is, like, whatever weird thing that it might be, and just say it more to the people around you. I think, like,
Okay.
oftentimes, like, we don't express what our vision is so that we can't meet people that are like in alignment with our vision, or whatever it is like that, the puzzle pieces that are around us that help us see because there are people that are like, yep, that's Rada. Yep. Yes, be in my life, please. And then there's other folks where it's like, maybe I can see it sometime, but you might be over there in like this night sky part of the puzzle. It might be down here in the meadow. And then we might just have like our puzzle pieces might not fit right now, but I can see how you're a part of the whole. Um, and then I'm
It's
sorry,
interesting
continue.
what you're saying right there, though, because like, if you're not speaking your vision, it is really hard to find your people.
Yes.
And it's scary sometimes to speak your vision because what if you fail? You don't want people to, like, judge you or
Mhm.
you know, and one thing is we don't wanna dream too big because we, as humans, just often in our culture maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just culture for us, um, if you speak too big and then you fail, you feel like you'll be judged, and people be like, "Eh, you're such a dreamer," or "You're not a realist," or, there's so many stories that we tell about those
Yeah.
things. But if you're not speaking it, how are you gonna find the people who are gonna support you and, be in alignment with what you want and what you imagine for yourself? And so I do think words matter, and I think words are powerful. And I love that you're saying, like, "Go ahead." I mean, we're in January, right? This is vision time.
Yeah.
January is vision time. This is when we all, like, start imagining what this next cycle is gonna be like for us.
Yeah.
And whether you are following, like, a Gregorian calendar or a Julian calendar or a Chinese calendar, like this time of year is the time of renewal,
Yeah.
sometime around January, February. And so really get your like visioning on and really start imagining like what do I want it to look like? And then speak it.
Yeah.
Be okay with speaking it. So you fail and you stumble and it doesn't go on a linear path that you want it to. But again, that snake is moving
Mm.
forward, right? But not always linear. Sometimes that snake is moving side to side and
Yes.
always moving in a forward motion. So I love that analogy. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I think you were bringing up the snake. I, so I think, like, another idea is, like, I mean, there's so many examples that I have in my life of what you're saying. So, um, when we did the move, it was sort of the idea was, okay, something's calling us out here, but we're not sure what. Like, Virginia is a very comfortable place. Like, I probably have at least 100 family members that live in Virginia alone. So, like, to me, I'm very rooted there. My last name is Richmond. It's like, to me, like, leaving Virginia was like a crazy idea. I was like, why would I ever leave here, And when I first visited the first time, I was like, I always had asthma until I started doing yoga. But like in Virginia, it's real easy to have an asthma attack. Like, it's so humid, and when it's like spring and summer, there's so much pollen. Um,
Yeah.
and anyway, so like I think I went to Colorado Springs the first time, and I'm like, going to the Garden of the Gods, and then I'm going to like one trail up there. Like, I don't remember exactly which one, but just going on a trail like in the mountains further higher up. And I was like, this is the first time in my life that, like, I've ever even breathed like this. Like, I didn't even know you could breathe like this. I'm like, this is I'm like, I can go and go finally. Like, I was just going, like, so I was like, me and Cameroonians gone, just going up, and like we would run up the hill, run back to Sava, run up the hill, run back, like going up and it was like, oh my God, like I didn't even know that I could feel like this in my body. And then
Anyone who has a breathing issue knows that Virginia is not the kindest place to be.
not at all. Not at all. Like, you're at war with the air. You're like, just come in here, like, please. Um, yeah, like that really, like, if you would like know me as a kid, like that was one of like the crippling things I would say, like in my story when I was young, was just like, oh, I would be so much better at this sport if I didn't have asthma. I'd be so much better at this. Like, I'd be able to hang out with them. Like, I would be able to reach these heights, like, that I just can't do because I just can't even develop the strength to do that. So, and yeah, a lot of my childhood was like nebulizer, Qvar, albuterol, like growing up. Anyways, so you're talking about the move. So anyways, I was like, yeah, like I couldn't even imagine life like this. And so I was like, okay, cool. Well, Denver's definitely a cool spot to go. I mean, Colorado's definitely a cool spot to be in. And anyway, so then a couple years later, Soph was like, let's just move. Let's just move to Colorado. Just randomly. And I was like, all right, like, well, that's what she said. Let's make it happen. And trying to be
The
more like
woman has spoken.
yes, it's like she has spoken. Like, all right, you want this? Okay, bet, I'll get it. Like, that's easy. So, anyway, so we're going there because like we don't. Colorado is bigger than Virginia, and like living in Virginia, and I already bought a house in Virginia, so like I know how like okay, how this county can be different than this county, and this area is different than this area. Like, there's all these intricacies. And so I'm like, we don't even know about this place, and we go there. We plan a 2-week vacation, a road trip to drive there, basically in like two days, and then spend 3 days in Golden, and a one Airbnb, and then we rented a one of those like all terrain like trailers that has like a queen size bed in it or something, and like whatever. So, and it has like a kitchen in the back. So
I
we
love this
rented
so
one.
much. When he gets there, you guys, I don't know if you remember from our story or if you haven't listened to those, but I was actually grew up in Golden. So I was born in Denver. And
Mm.
then Golden was where I spent like my first, 6 years of my life. So when he got to Golden, he sent me a photo of
Uh,
this that says, "Welcome to Golden."
And it's like literally the other world. Like, compared to Virginia, like it's
Mm.
golden. Like, yeah, it's grassland, and like I don't know, it's like just completely different than what we were used to. And it just so happened to snow, all this stuff. So yeah, we were just our whole plan was just to kind of like explore all of Colorado. And then the first place we go to, everything aligned, as in they had put the house on market the day before we were there. It had colors that we liked. The address was my favorite number, and it was in a really pretty spot that kind of met our like desire to be more in the city. And so we were like, if we found this on the first day, like what else are we gonna do? And so it just happened to occur that like we met with a realtor the next day. We liked it a lot. We came back the second day. Their realtor was like, dang, they must like it. And so basically were able just to continue our vacation, and we were like, well, we already found the spot. We don't have to explore like other towns. Let's just, and we did like go with the realtor to a couple different places, but we're like, this is the spot, like this is it, like it's calling to us. So let's just go on a vacation. And on our vacation on mountaintops, I'm calling the realtor, sending emails, sending them my bank statements and all that stuff. And by the time we drive back home within a week, we closed. Now, we still lived in Virginia. So we had our house and we were paying for this house that was vacant. And so, but it was like, I don't know, we just stepped right into it. And I was
Mhm.
like, this just feels right for us to do. And then so now everything kind of came, like with us being a year, we moved, I think we came here like January 5th or 6th was like our official day we got here. So it's been like a year and a week. And um, last week, or like this week, something I had always prayed for was happening, like over and over again. Like, I had always prayed that I want to have a job where my dogs can come to. Like, if I have a family, I'm not trying to be absent from my family.
Yeah.
Um, and so in the South office, which is the office I typically don't work in, I I had been sort of thinking in my head like, "No, now's the time," because Toph, he started, like, peeing in the house. He's not handling
Oh,
being alone this long because it's his first time really doing this, and he was adopted and stuff, and so and we have 100-year floors, so we're like, "We gotta do something about this," and so I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I need to ask my boss, like, "Can I take my dog with me? Can I start working at the South office?" And I was just thinking about it and kinda nervous about it because I'm under the 90-day mark, like, it's not like I have tenure, and so um, he just so happens to go, "Hey, Liz is working in the South office. I want you to train with her for the next 3 days. So, can you start working down there?" And then I text her and, like, the guy who runs that office, and I'm like, "Can I bring my dogs?" And they're like, "Please bring them." So,
oh,
like, I'm sitting here, I got both of my dogs there, and it's, like, so spacious. There's not, like, things really for them to mess up or get hairy, so they're just running around, like, not like, yeah, literally running at times, play fighting. They mainly play fight and wrestle and, like, run around, and they're going up to pet it, like, touch everybody, and most of the people like, pretty much everyone there loves dogs, and the one who doesn't love them likes them, so it's still good. And they're calm, and they're chilling, and it's like I'm sitting here and it's like, I don't feel homesick when I'm at work anymore. It's like, I'm like, okay, they're right here. And we live in this spot where like we work in this office where it's like right across is this big grass field that wraps around the office park. And then there's a series of, in Colorado, it's a series of trails that always connect you everywhere. So like, it's like half an a mile walk to where the like, restaurants are, and, the one I went to had an outdoor patio section, so I can sit outside with my dogs and have lunch, and it's hot, like, in the sun in the middle of the day, even if it's 30 degrees, it's, like, 50 degrees, 80 degrees when you look at the sun. So, I was like, "Wow, like, this is I would have never imagined this," and I'm sitting here like, I'm a design engineer now, um, and I'm like I don't know, this in this completely different space and no stress. Like I don't have to wake up early to the meetings. Like people start work at 8, 9. Like I would have never imagined I'd start work at 9. Like it's so crazy. Um, and I don't know, just kind of living in this space of like answered prayer where it's like, you don't want to be stressed, Rada. Like there's the ocean, like, people who live by the ocean are historically known to be relaxed, and it's sort of like the
yeah,
answer's always there, but
yeah,
at the same time, your whole life as, like, this where we were at that size, it was like, "No, we're being called to, like, serve in this more particular way, like, we have to be more leaders, and we have to, like, do these sort of things," and rather than and I think the shifting is, like, yes, it's good to lead materialistically or, like, lead organizations, um, that the organization then has an influence. And I think the shift now is like, what if you just spoke directly? Like, what if you just spoke directly? How can our reach just be more directly beneficial than like trying to have a middleman through an organization? Like, yes, I teach yoga because I love to have the hands on hands connection with people and be very influential or work for this company and be influential in this little way. But at the same time, like we can just hop on here, talk to each other for a while and reach many more people outside of our industry than we ever might be able to within it. Um, so yeah, I think that's why we had to move because we're Virginia. in where we were from, and it was keeping us in those patterns that we felt some of them we felt were good and productive and we worked our whole lives for, and then some patterns were also negative that we kinda might have picked up on, and the move and the shift is to get rid of both of those, you know? Um
Yeah, that's the key is, like, getting rid of all of it, because so often we wanna keep what's working. We're like, "It's
Mhm.
working. Why would I wanna change that?"
Literally.
And sometimes the thing that's working is not working enough, or it's not working for the person you are becoming or the path you're going down. And I think that's really it's a hard thing to accept sometimes because, of course, there's stuff that we love and stuff we've been doing for a long time or, I mean,
Mm.
we you and I both love Virginia.
Yes.
Like, here's the thing, is we didn't move away from Virginia because we don't love Virginia.
Yeah.
We're both really big fans of Virginia.
Mm.
I mean, I think it's one of the most beautiful states in the world, like, it is
Absolutely.
it is one of the most beautiful places. There is something really magical about Virginia, and it is, um
Mm.
I love the
Mm.
South. I was just telling someone yesterday, I said, "I think I'm probably just gonna, be a Southern girl, and, I can't wait." I'm a little bit closer to some of the Deep South that I really love,
Mm.
um, and I'm really looking forward to going to visit, like, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. I love those places. And sometimes, like, again, in order to have what I wanted, in order to
Mm.
go to the next level, because there's always a next level for us, right? There's
Yeah.
seasons. So, every season's not gonna be the fun season. Like, some seasons are a little less pleasant for us than other seasons, and that's okay. I have no idea how I'll deal with, like, the summer heat here. We'll see how that season feels for me, like a
Yeah.
physical season, but there's also seasons of our life.
Mm.
And so I don't want you guys to think that, like, just because we're saying we had these great transformations and these moves, that everything was just felt really good to us because we had personal attachments and
Mhm.
we still had ideas of how things were supposed to look or what
Mhm.
we were supposed to be doing. However, both Quentin and I live in a space and actively live in a space that we practice daily
Mm.
of being like, okay, I understand that I have attachments. I
Yeah.
understand that I have a way that I think it's going to be. And I am going to be open to the idea that my version is not necessarily what's meant to be.
Yeah.
And so being open to that. And, the Buddha always said life is suffering, and the
Mm.
source of suffering is attachment. So it's not that the suffering comes because things are happening to you.
Mm.
It's the attachment that you have and the meaning that you give it and what you attach to it. So I could say, yes, leaving Virginia had suffering to it because I am attached to Virginia. It didn't
Yeah.
have to have suffering. If I wasn't attached to Virginia, leaving Virginia would have been like, whoa, okay, I'm not attached at all. That's totally pleasant. But there's
Mm.
suffering attached to it because because I'm attached, right? So that suffering is the choice that we make.
Mm.
And any experience, you can go through an experience and not have suffering, or realize that the suffering is only at the level of which you are attached.
Mm.
And when you start to have that awareness on a daily basis and you start to really live it and be in it day after day, it can really transform your life. And the suffering does become less because you get through the suffering a little faster, or your perspective on the suffering is such that it doesn't have to be, you know, um, it doesn't have to stick with you or last with you a really long time, because so much of the suffering again has to do with our stories or our viewpoint or the way that we perceive things.
Mm.
And when we can change our perception, it can really change the level of attachment, which changes the level of suffering. So I don't want
100%.
you to think like both of us moved to these new places and it was all like, yeah, we both, I mean, he and I have both had some moments over the last year where we've been like, what the hell just happened? Like,
Yes.
what in the world were we thinking? Can we just go
Mhm.
back to our comfortable little
Yeah.
ca cave
A
we were
little
in,
little yeah.
cocoon we were in?
My god. Yeah, the
Yeah.
cave analogy is perfect. Yeah, you're in a cave, you can't tell, you're like, "Oh, there's nice crystals in this cave, like, there's water here, it's calm, it's cool," and then you go out there and you're like, "Wow," like, you know yeah, you wouldn't trade this for that.
Can't
You're
believe one thing that, cocoons also, like, we
mm,
talk about cocoons, and I was today years old before I realized that, the caterpillar doesn't transform into a butterfly. The caterpillar literally dissolves. I had no idea that the
mm,
caterpillar literally dissolves into nothing, like
mm,
gush,
yeah,
and then it forms into the butterfly. So it's almost like the DNA then becomes the butterfly, but it literally has to become nothing. It's not just like a nice little caterpillary thing
yeah.
that's up in a cocoon, and
Mm,
then it suddenly grows wings and it's too
mm,
big for its cocoon and it flies out, which is kind of, I guess, how I always thought it was happening. I don't
yeah.
know why I never knew that the actual physical caterpillar is dissolving.
Literally, you're like, "Wait a minute, I'm trying to remember, I don't think I knew that at all either. I remember them telling us that I remember us learning about them, but I don't remember that at all. Yeah,
No,
that's
and that's
crazy.
so crazy,
That is
right? That
that's
literally have to
useful.
dissolve in your cocoon.
Yeah,
You're, like, literally you're in your cocoon, you're in your safe place,
mm,
but that has to melt everything that you are, and then it's not that you're reborn, it's literally you are recreated into
yeah.
something new, and that is some powerful juju magic right there.
It's true. I,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true that you're making me it's funny, let me see, I'm about to pick cards too, but anyways, I was thinking I had a conversation with a friend yesterday. They came through and did like a reading with Safa and I. Safa just quit her job like basically yesterday. So she just got the job and there's a lot of it was, you know, I'll be respectful, but I'll leave it at this. There's a toxic work environment, let's say.
Yeah.
And based around just like emotional instability, I'd say. Um, so anyway, so she puts in her 2 weeks, and then the person he put her 2 weeks into was just like, "Just leave now." And he's like, "We'll pay you for your next 2 weeks." I guess that's like the rule in Colorado.
I
And,
love that. Just leave
and
now.
just leave now. But
You're
she's
like,
like,
"Wow, okay, universe,
"Okay."
stepping
It
out
was
the door."
yeah, stepping right out the door. So, but I'm at work. We ride together. So I work in Just I'll be specific, because work in Westminster, which is northwest of Colorado, and then she works near Central Park, which is east of I'll say the capital. So northeast, it's east. So it's sort of like over here. Anyways, so I had like a deadline. Not like a deadline, but I had to like finish this thing before like 10 something like that, and then I could leave. And um so anyway, so she got told to leave at like 8:30 or something like that in the morning. Like she sent it right in the morning because it was like, "You're nasty already. Like we're just gonna have to get this over with." And Safa will
Mm.
not tolerate. Like she was like, "All my life I had a limit of what I tolerate. It was different than other people. It stood out, but it was like, I just can't. I don't care what your position is or what. Like you can't hold anything over me." So um so then he's like, "Just leave now." And remember, she's not fired. She quit. She put in her 2 weeks. And she was saying, "I'll work for these 2 weeks." Like, we're from Virginia, we're not used to that. That's not a rule that we're from. So, um, he's like, "Actually, I need you to leave in 5 minutes." And then she's like, "What?" And he's like, so she's like packing up her stuff. It's not like you just say leave and then we go. It's like she's packing up her stuff. He's like, "Actually, you need to leave in 5 minutes." Like, "All right." And she's like, "Well, Quentin's not here. He's coming. He's about to be. He's like, he's on his way, but like, he's not here yet." And there's a lot of residents there that know her. So two of them. There's one like black lady. Like in Colorado, there's not that many old black ladies. Just for y'all who don't know, and it's like a 55 and up space. So like, she feels like a lot of love, and there's a lot of kinship between her and this woman. And her husband was in the military, and so anyways, and then there was like another lady too that's just kind of like the like tea lady of the area. It's a 55 and up community, so active community, to give you more of a texture of the demographic there. So these are all like
There's 55 and up communities, and I'm so close to that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm living in Myrtle Beach now.
Yeah, look, yeah, you see, you're doing the, you're like, I'm a Southern girl, and it's like, it might be because you're you're getting closer to 60.
I'm
Yeah,
getting
you're
to
gonna
the
be,
55 and up community
yeah,
level.
yeah, you're like, well, I just love how when I wake up, like, I can just easily move, like, it's like, um,
I just had
so,
an age check. I'm sorry, guys. That was
no,
that
no,
was like
that's
a
perfect.
physical age check.
No, I get it. I get it. I know exactly how you feel. Where I'm like, I'm talking to people. I'm like, I'm 30. Like, I slipped so many times this year, and I was like, I've been slipping. I've been slipped like this all my life. No, it's here. But, but anyways, this is just to go to story of what you're talking about. When you move in alignment, Sava was like that morning she prayed on it, and she was like, when I was like, she prayed on it, she meditated on it. It was like, quit now, quit now, quit now. And she was like, her natural tendency would have been like, well, what if I wait till tomorrow because he doesn't work? As in, yeah, wait, whatever I work till tomorrow, he doesn't work tomorrow, so he won't see it till he comes in. I would have worked a couple shifts. So her thought process was like, I know he's gonna say something, so I want to avoid that by like doing this. But stepping more in alignment was to be like, no, do it now. Like, don't wait later. Do it now. Take care of it right now. Like, let's confront it right now. And so she did that, and then basically, he's like, you need to live in 5 minutes. And then one of the ladies was like, hey, I'll give you a ride, but she knew I was coming. She's like, no, it's okay. So then he goes and calls the cops. He's calling the police. He's on the phone.
Because
Yeah,
she
she
has
won't.
left.
Yeah, but she's not fired. Remember this. But yes, yeah, but because he's like, this is only for employees, and she's we're like, I'm like, were you fired? You're still an employee. Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, I just don't get this. Colorado has like, we're talking about these random things. Like Colorado has working in Colorado, like I understand why there's unions here. Like it's weird. Like in Virginia, it's not a union heavy state, like in the same way that it is like in Colorado. And it's like people in Virginia just respect you more. I never thought I would say that. And you go to Colorado, it's like the bosses here are just like so different. I don't know how to explain it. Like everything is so legal. And anyway, so she's like, wow, like you're really gonna kick me out? Like I have like I have all this stuff I have to carry. I don't have a car and no one's here. Like I don't have anywhere to go. And so she's doing all this. And then Miss Margaret, I forget exactly what happened with her, but basically she goes off and she's like trying to just like kind of pay attention to what he's saying, like off on the side. And then as she's standing there, like Safa starts to walk like away from the building and with all her stuff. Right as she gets to the corner, a lady comes, hey, do you need a ride? And then she gives her like, and then she just picks her up, and she's like, you know, like you're doing the right thing, like shed this, like let this go, like the next door's opening.
Wow.
And these are all elders, you know, like these are all people who
Mhm.
lived a full life. And these women are like more 70, 75, like not like there's not that many like 56-year-olds, I'll say. It's more so up there. So
Thanks for clarifying for me,
yeah,
Quentin. That was very nice of you.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So so she just picks her up and just talks to her and is able to console her, and then she drops her off at like the grocery store that I ended up meeting her with. And it's like right when she needed someone right there on that street, someone pulls up and just gives her a ride and takes her out. And then it's like, and then now like fast forward to the next day and the next evening, we're talking to a friend, and they're like, well, I'm about to leave this job and I don't want to leave this guy hanging. This is an easy work from home job. It's basically like, it's also like what you're doing, but it's like way easier. It's like, you know, it's right up really Sava's alley, and it pays more than her job that she has now, and she had to go somewhere. It's
Yeah.
like pays over 60, you know, pays over whatever 70 or something like that, and it's better than what she has now, what she was so stressed about keeping. And we're like, I told everybody here, but like we knew we had to start working when the IRS came, and then I got into an accident, and that was like 20 racks all at once. And I was like, even if I was working, like that would still be difficult. So we definitely were like being more focused on the money for a second. But then I'm like, no, it's still not worth it. Like if it's feeling this hard, like you proved your point, you already had like your experiences with them, and to where like you fought your battle, but now it's like it's time to like move on. And I think for me, that's the main thing. It's like when do you pick your battles? Like what are your battles? How are you picking them? How like do you feel like you're staying in this place because you have some battle? Like do you feel like you have some unfinished business that you need to take care of? Is that why you're staying there, or are you Yeah, basically, and how is that holding you back? And I think, like,
Mhm.
we have this sense of, like, unfinished business, these, like, old things, these old, like, even subconscious at this point, like, drives that keep us in the same cycles.
Man, yeah. We do, and that's it. I think I love that you're saying the unconscious bit because so much of it is not conscious. Like, if we were conscious of it, it'd be better, we wouldn't do it. Often, um, what we know, we can change, but so much of it is not, like, knowable because we can't even see it, and so reminding yourself that, first of all, it's okay. Don't be kind to yourself, you guys, like, really, seriously, be kind. So,
Mm,
even if you're not seeing it or you feel like you're stuck or something's coming up for you, just be kind about it.
mm,
Okay,
yeah,
so I didn't listen, I didn't flow at the moment, I made it harder than it needed to be. Whatever. So, it's all part of the process too. It's all part of your learning experience and your growing and, you know, but at the same time, um recognizing that there is a lot of unconscious stuff that's constantly being threaded through, and that's so much of what, like, yana yoga is about, is also looking at,
yeah,
like, these things and remembering that you are not all your unconscious beliefs, like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Remembering who you are and really analyzing your thoughts and saying, "What is this thought about? What is this thought?
mm,
Is that my
yeah,
highest source?" And that is powerful work and can really transform your life, but you have to be a little conscious of it, right? The first step is consciousness of bring it to the front so that you can see it, so that you can then
yeah,
like it. And then realizing when you are operating in this really unconscious space that you're going to start creating and manifesting and having things happen in your life that you will look at and you'll be like,
yeah,
but I'm doing all the things. Why is it still hard? Why am I still stuck? Why am I still repeating the same patterns? And that's when you just have to be like, okay, so there's something under there. Like, what is underneath this? And really digging to the what's underneath, what's underneath, what's underneath. Where is the belief? And one of the things that we talk about in transformational leadership also is that most of your beliefs happen, like the concrete stuff that's really baked into you, the unconscious, subconscious beliefs are going to happen between like 0 and 8. So, your childhood, when you are
yeah,
not a fully formed being, you're seeing things and experiencing things in your life, and then you are determining your story about how the world works based on what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. And then you're carrying that forward with you subconsciously into the future. But that's a 5-year-old. Like, is a 5-year-old going to be able to look at a situation between his parents or her parents and then
yeah,
say, have
yeah,
a conscious idea of what's happening? No, they're going to create some sort of story, and that subconscious belief is going to get lodged in there. And then you are 40 years old and you are living out something, some scenario that you're like, this is not what I want. This is not what I'm think I want in life.
yeah,
But scenario is playing itself out. And then it just has to do with the fact that you are still operating according to what that 5-year-old said this situation is or how the world works. And that's your unconscious belief playing itself out. So at some point you got to like do the work with your mind and your thoughts and cleaning all that out. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. Like you can do it with the yana yoga. Mantra is actually a really great way to just clean your I've said this before, I think it's like scrubbing your brain and scrubbing
yeah,
your clean. That can be a way of, like, dealing with this stuff without actually having to dig it out or figure out what it is. Often just the mantra repetition can shift, narratives and clean some stuff out. But those subconscious beliefs will really affect you, and I think that's kind of like what we were talking about with our stories of why Virginia resonates with us also,
yeah, because
because, even though I didn't move to Virginia until I was a little bit older than that, my narrative of safety, my narrative of home, my narrative, when I left Colorado, I remember looking out the back van and seeing my grandfather and being so traumatized that when I got to Connecticut, I had this friend who was trying to be my friend when I went into yoga school, and I kept telling her, "You can't be my friend because I'm going back to Colorado to what's safe and what's home." And so when I finally found Virginia and there was a community and there was our home, that safety spoke to what I experienced when I was 5, and I got moved out of my safe space in my home. And so getting myself out of that again, I never wanted to not have my home base be in Virginia. And this is the first time really in a long, long time I have moved all my stuff that I carry with me,
Yeah.
partially including my plants. I have a couple plants that have been living with me since I was probably about 24 years old, and I moved them with me, but over the last 4 years when Dee and I have been living in New York and moving around and staying in Myrtle Beach and all the things we've been doing, my plants have always been in Virginia. And this is the first time
Mm.
my plants, and when I move my plants, that's when it's serious. We're like,
Yeah.
gotta she moves her plants. She's not kidding around.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that even my plants, I kept in that space because that's what I wanted to be home. That's what was comfortable. That's what was familiar. And so, so often we have these things, these beliefs, these, you know, these narratives, these subconscious things that are underscoring everything we do. And it's just, I'm not saying it's good or bad. You guys know I'm not into the good, bad, right, wrong. I'm just into the let's be curious about what exists here in this space and why. Why am I operating the way I am? Like, why do I feel like for Safa, it was such a beautiful story because she trusted her intuition. She trusted that voice that was
Yeah.
saying. And so she didn't have to like that subconscious thing that maybe would say, don't do this, like, wait. Wait, wait, wait. She was able to, like, be in
Yeah.
tune with, like, a flow and say, "No, now is the time." And then, of course, everything fell into place. And that's what we're talking about is, like, looking back, like, in the moment when you're making that decision, it can feel so scary, so big, so frightening. But looking back, she can now see everything just flowed.
Yeah.
And just like you guys in, Colorado, everything flowed. D and I in Myrtle Beach, everything was flowing. But in the moment, you don't always see it, so it can be sort of scary and, you know, overwhelming. So be
Yeah.
kind. Be kind to
Yeah.
yourself.
Please, please. Um, man, there's one other thing I wanted to say. I was thinking about, 2 things. I kinda mentioned this before in martial arts, but I think our main issue that we talk about is attachment.
Mm,
What we call it's interesting, like, what we describe as, like, a very high level of attachment, but most people, like, you gotta kinda start somewhere with, there's, like, the high level of attachment where you can be attached to essentially anything and everything, like your water bottle, your clothes, anything. If you lost your water bottle, would you be sad or not? Not sad or not, but would you despair? Maybe you might be sad for a second, but would you mull on it? Then that's a sign that you're attached to something.
yeah.
And you can even do that thought experiment on your own. You go, "Okay, if I lost my sock, how much despair would it cause me? Okay, da 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 da. Alright," and you can work your way up. This is a practice that I've heard of. You can work your way up or down. So you can start with your wedding ring and work your way down, or you can start with an opposite direction. And I think what Rod and I are saying is like, yeah, like being a Virginian was like high up on the list of things that you don't want to let go of. And I'm starting talking to a realtor right now to sell my house in Virginia. My plan was to sell it in June at the end of my person's lease, but she wants to buy it now, and her dad is getting her some disability, like, extra money coming in, so he's probably gonna co-sign on it, and up until this point, she was having a hard time consistently holding us down financially to even cover the spot. And, just my original plan was, like, to wait 6 more months, and then now it's turning into it might be 1 month away from me, like, getting rid of this spot. I bought the place 8 years ago, so it was a good investment. And then, the same time, I'm, like, talking to my mortgage guy here, and, like, maybe it's time to refinance, like, the interest rates are allegedly coming down. I got this loan when it was pretty high, like, um, I don't know, it's like just like what you're saying, like, things are kind of you can kind of go with the flow and see what's natural, but, like, what's important is that, like, your like we said in the very beginning, your attachments, your addictions are all they also seem to be easy and natural and normal. So, let's, like I heard this recently. Lex Friedman did an interview with Paul Rosalie. He is, he's a young guy. I think he's like 40 maybe. But for the last 20 years, he's been focusing on preserving the Amazon. That's his whole mission. He visited there. He was drawn there as a kid. He knows like locals there, and he's sort of like the English spoken mouthpiece, I guess you could say. But he's
Mhm.
fundamental. He's been on Lex Friedman several times, been on all the major podcasts, and like talks about it. So he loves snakes, like, and he's there in the Amazon hunting the anacondas, like, the biggest ones, like, not hunting to hunt, but hunting to observe, and what I heard him say in this last podcast is he goes, he got one while they were shedding, and when it was shedding its skin, snakes start shedding on their face first, and the
Mm.
first thing that and when you well, like, if you're looking at a snake and you can tell it's shedding, and it just begun, it actually sheds its eyes. And it has like a blue film over their eyes, and then it starts to shed their head, and then it starts there, and I think I'm talking about like, yeah, the perspective shift is fundamental. Like just shifting your point of view on like, what is this? Where is this thought coming from? Where is this urge coming from? Like, what was I told as a kid that reinforces this belief? Like Virgo moon energy for anybody who understands, like I like cleanliness. So it's like, why are things dirty here? What does this say about you? What is this, where does this come from? Okay, well, I wasn't allowed to really be dirty because that meant this, and I had to do this. And at the same time, we have things that we run from our childhood, like where patterns were established that we rebelled against in the moment and a part of our narrative that now we're like, nah, maybe it was a good practice to actually try to clean the kitchen. If you have a kitchen, clean it every day. I was raised on that. From 12 to 18, I had to clean the kitchen every day, and I hated it from 12 to 18 because it's like, I'm trying to play. Like, how am I gonna play if I have to clean the kitchen after we eat dinner? Um,
It's so funny
so
because I like to keep my kitchen, I do not clean my kitchen every day, and it
yeah,
is such a, backlash against my childhood, because from the
yeah,
time I was really young, there were,
mm,
6 kids, and so, we all had our duties, and at
mm,
5, you were drying dishes, and so my
yeah,
mother she is adamant about keeping our kitchen clean every day. That is her way. And so it's so funny also how that narrative, so 2 scenarios, right? Like, you
yeah,
were being told to clean your kitchen every day, and maybe that fomented in you, like, "I keep my kitchen clean every day." I was being told to keep my kitchen clean every day, and my reaction was to now I never clean my kitchen every day because 'cause I'm like, "I don't have to. I'm an adult. It's a
yeah,
Gonna leave dirty dishes in there for a week if I want to." I don't,
yeah, yeah,
um
100%.
but I do not clean my kitchen before I go to bed.
No,
It's
it's
not
like
important to me. I'm like, "You know what? I don't have to keep my kitchen clean. That's not something that I have to do."
100%, and I think
But I also wonder, like, is that just my childhood speaking?
no, what I'm getting at is for a long time, I didn't clean my kitchen. I didn't. And then I realized I was like, I don't know. I just felt like, to what extent, do your parents have wisdom? To what extent, like, can they kind of foresee, like, huh?
Yeah.
And then, so even what you're saying is like, there's all the narratives, whatever they are, is like, I had to kind of look at myself and be like, where is this coming from? Where is this going? Like, why do I believe this? And I think when you start doing that, th- I call that self study or Svaadhyaya, or I don't know how to pronounce it perfectly, but
Svaadhyaya. Yeah.
yes, Svaadhyaya, which is um, one of the main limbs of yoga, and it's sort of like not limbs, but it's one of I think it's niyamas. Uh,
Mhm.
no, yes, no, it might be yamas. Either way, it's very, very important in the yoga system. It's sort of just like when you're not in that mantra zone, when you're sort of just in a space, it's always just like double checking everything, taking a second to just ask yourself, like, huh, where did this come from? Okay, who said that? Okay, how old was I when I heard that? Do I have any counters examples of that? And I think like as I've continued to do that practice, like like what you're saying, that really helps just like dismantle a lot of things. And then at the same time, music. like, just listening to, like, your favorite song, dancing around, or just creative expression, or just, like, playing your favorite game, like, doesn't always have to be super heady. These things are also, like, rubbing and scrubbing you and working on you and sort of, like, healing you when you're not really paying attention to it, because sometimes not all the subconscious wounds, like, are healed consciously through your effort. Like, sometimes, like either the cycles of time pass and things just naturally fall away, or like you have enough fun or you have enough counter examples that that belief that used to ring true in your mind, now you have so much counter evidence to it baked into your subconscious that it no longer rings true. And to me, that's another element of mantra is, you could take all your time, like, trying to be like, okay, let me go through all the people that I ever beefed with, or what, me go through all the things and like figure out the root of them. Or you can just say like, um, I forgive everyone and I love you. Like, I love you. I forgive you. I love everyone. I forgive you. I forgive everyone who's ever did anything wrong to me. I forgive you. I love you. I want to work with you. I want to make a path forward for you. And so then when that person, that instance comes back in your mind, you've done the mantra so often that it's easier to apply it to that circumstance. And it's also not necessary for you to like work through the details. It's like, oh, you don't have to work through the details of how they disrespected you or how they breached your boundaries, but you can just say, that was a person, and now I love people. And where I'm at now is a different space than where I was then. And I don't have to apply the same thinking then to now to that person. I can look at them from a different point of view, or that situation from a different point of view. And
That's some good stuff right there.
yeah, and I think when we talk about the caterpillar, I just pulled moth. I think moths are sort of similar. Is you isolate for a while, you kinda have your own space, you dissolve, you sort of isolate yourself from that environment, you dissolve, but then you come back with this, like, higher perspective, like, you come back and you're like, "Okay, I was a caterpillar looking at it from the leaf's point of view when I was that size, but now that I'm up here, I'm still looking at that same forest, but now I have a completely different level of interaction with it." And I think practicing yoga and is a great tool to that. And I wanna say one more thing. You were talking about, like, the thing that you struggle with is, like, worrying. I think my main thing is, like, if someone makes me mad, it's very difficult for me to, like, not just laser on, like, destroying their argument or, like, taking that person down. But, um what I'm trying to shift to is like, okay, if something makes me angry or in an interesting way, like how can I play with that? How can I like roll with that? And martial arts again, I say it all the time. Martial arts has been helped me so much because what I realize is that like the enemy, the devil, or selfishness, fear, whatever it is for you that you're like that you identify with like a dark force, it wants to get your back. It wants you not facing it. It wants you running away from it and cowering away from it. Like, if I'm in a fight with you and I go to punch you and you curl and do this, I'm like, oh, it's game over for this guy. Like, there's no way. You're only strong when your strength is in your direction to turn and face and confront.
Mm.
And like, if there's anything that I want to encourage for anybody today is like, when you practice, say, meditation, when you practice, because not only are you practicing meditation, you're also pushing yourself to do something you probably don't always do, or something that is a little bit difficult. Meditation isn't necessarily like in the easy peasy category. When you sort of push yourself to do the things just a little bit that you feel like are in alignment with yourself, like the habits that you want to build within yourself, I feel like God or the universe allows you to concentrate the suffering and the effort for you to do what's in alignment. He's like, I will let you suffer, or, suffer through the meditation, or suffer through the yoga class, or suffer through the martial arts class, or suffer through cleaning, or whatever we want to call it. If you're able to use your free will to allocate your suffering in this way, like, I'll take care of the rest. There's this
Mm.
thing where it goes, all you have to do, like, your job is to aim the arrow, and God's job is to still the wind and keep the animal still. Or like, that's kind of how I look at it. And so there is this give and take where if you do feel difficulty, like quote unquote difficulty, it's sort of in those tasks and you doing what you know is in alignment. And I think when you once you make being in alignment habitual, and cyclically habitual, then, like, it's way, way easier to be in flow, just like what you're saying. And then things just start happening for you, like, on your own because you're doing that little bit of internal work, little bit of work on your own, and everything else is falling into place.
Yeah, Swami Satchidananda used to always say, it's about the attitude of gratitude, right? Like, it's not, the things around you may stay static even, and that might not change, but it's the way that you interact, and I think that's really, from my understanding, that's the difference between, people always talk about free will. Well, our free will is not that we can change all the things around us, but what we can change is the way we react to it, the way our minds are. Whether we are in peace and alignment, we're gonna use, if I'm at peace, I'm in alignment, or we can choose suffering. So that's where
Yeah.
the suffering exists, but only because of the attachment, and the attachment exists because of the way we're looking at the situation, and we can control our reaction to everything. How we show up in the world is like, and how our minds are and how we choose to be. That is up
Mhm.
to us. And
Yeah.
so if you choose to be someone who is loving, kind, and I love what you're saying about the I love everybody or I forgive them because that's not about them.
Mm.
You're not doing it for
Yep.
their benefit. You're doing it for your benefit so that you are not suffering, so it's not disturbing your peace, so it's not interfering with your life because think of how much real estate in our heads we give to people because we're angry,
Yep.
frustrated,
Yep.
whatever. And I really I try to be very mindful of the real estate that I give people in my head now because this is my life, my peace, my thoughts, my brain. And I don't want to sit there and start stewing. It's really selfish,
Yeah.
ultimately, because
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and stew over something that somebody else did to me because then I'm just giving away my happiness to them. And I'm not down with that. I'm not gonna give my
Mm.
away happiness to anybody. My happiness is mine, and I get to choose to have it, and, so I'm learning. I'm
Mm.
learning this on a day-to-day basis because I do feel like the more I master something, um, the greater the challenge gets.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I think I got it, and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm so good at this," and then the challenge gets greater. So I do recognize, like, this last year for a lot of people, the challenge got greater. I really do think a lot of people were leveling up into something amazing. So just recognize that, like, it's not that you can't do it. It's not that you failed. It's not that, like, "Oh, well, I'm such a failure because now that thing that I thought I had mastered, I no longer have mastery of." No, it's just that the challenge got greater. So your level of mastery gets to level up so that you can take on this great new challenge. And I think that's what really this year of going from snake to fire horse gets to be.
Yeah.
Like fire horse is that energy is going to be really different than wood snake.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Way
a lot
more out.
happening. And like we were talking last time, like, I don't know what's going on in mid-February, but let's just acknowledge the fact that we have all been doing a lot of work this last year, and there's been a lot of stuff that's coming up and changes, and I know that the people listening will resonate because I know that the people that I've been sharing with on social media are resonating,
Yeah.
uh, with this idea that, like, this last year was we were we all thought we had mastered something, and we did, and then
Yep.
the universe was like, "Okay, let's go
Next level.
next," just like the video game, next level.
Next level. Yeah. I love that. I'll just close on this. We always grew up saying, like, or hearing no pressure, no diamonds, no pressure, no diamonds, like, really have faith in that, and then the next level beyond that is the diamond's mind, and we put it on the tips of blades, and we use diamond cut blades to cut the sharpest things. Like, and so, like, you know, we're being sharpened, but we are still instruments, and, you know, yeah, we got work to do, but the way that work looks shifts and changes as we grow and mature, so
Oh my gosh, and I am so excited about this journey we're all on this year. I really
Yeah,
think I don't know, I'm just pretty excited about what this year is gonna look like with all of you and, what comes up. So, continue to share with us.
yeah.
Continue to reach out to us and let us know what is coming up for you. And, that's Henson making a
No,
huge in the back.
he's drinking the hell out of that water. That water.
My dog is not a quiet drinker. I'm trying to say something really meaningful and loving and powerful. This
Hey,
is a perfect example of don't be attached.
example.
I'm trying to be
Don't be
all,
attached.
"Oh, and we're all gonna have such a great year." And look at my dog being ridiculous.
It's perfect.
Om Namah Shivaya. I'm
Yes,
that.
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. All right. Well, thank you all
Yeah,
for being here today with us. Thank you, Quentin, as always. And I look forward to, yeah, I think like once we get settled in a little bit, the consistency also of the podcast will return this
yeah.
year. So we look forward to that as well. Thanks for hanging with us through the chaotic holidays. I was thinking, probably next year we'll just maybe take a few weeks off intentionally.
Yeah, yeah, let's try to do it on purpose. Like
Next time.
well,
All
perfect.
right.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and your wisdom. I love you so much. I love you all so much. I hope that, you can stick with us. Till next
Yeah.
time.
Om.
Peace.